I'm not gonna lie, I got emotional watching this episode of Attack on Titan, and this is coming from a guy that knows what's gonna happen, knows, like, the content of the manga. I got extremely emotional, like the entire Reiner scene, and him basically once again wanting to just die, but he couldn't, he got denied that, to Zeke and Aaron's entire emotional bond, and then that build up to the very ending sequence of the episode, to also Aaron's head literally spinning like a baseball into Zeke's hand. There's a lot of emotion poured into this episode, and before I really just tackle and dive into the just sheer content that was this episode of Attack on Titan, I do want to clarify a few things. I think most of you know that I am a manga reader, and going forward doing these videos of Attack on Titan, I am not going to look at any content from the manga and just judge my opinion based on that for the anime. I'm going to look at the anime as its own separate thing. That's what should be done. I might say if they done things a little bit differently or better, but I'm, for the most part, just going to say I am not looking at any of the opinions or anything I have towards the manga for the anime. Two separate things. I'm looking at this from an entirely different perspective, and I don't want to hold any other outside opinions and be biased towards the content of Attack on Titan's anime. So with that out of the way, let's actually dive in to this episode. So first things first, just the love, the passion, the effort, the amount of work quality that has been put into Attack on Titan is just mind-boggling. I mean, it's not just the episode that came out this past weekend, but the previous episodes that came out for Attack on Titan's final season, second half, and it's just been outright fantastic quality. Like the Beast Titans look, to the Attack Titans look, to the Armor Titan, to the overall cinematography of the entire landscape. There is stuff that just blew my freaking mind watching these episodes. Like, example, let's take, a scene from the latest episode. The entire moment where time basically freezes or slows down to a crawl, and you see the camera just zooming around different points of the battlefield, and you see the environment, the fights going on, the state of everybody that is currently fighting for their life. I love how the scene just navigates throughout everything, and we get to see a 3D look at everybody's current fight. And it's such a great way to use CGI that I am honestly impressed. I feel like some of these tactics or techniques that they're using throughout this episode in terms of cinematography and CGI and all that is going to be probably incorporated into Chainsaw Man going forward, because all I could help when I was watching this episode is like, holy crap, if they're going to do stuff like this for Chainsaw Man in terms of just the 3D nature of it, it's going to look freaking good. Like, I cannot even begin to imagine how some of those scenes are going to look, but the point, though, is that this episode of Attack on Titan really blew my mind when it came to the CGI, and not in a bad way. It's actually just incredible usage of it, and I love just the particle effects of the dust, seeing the camera zoom through it, getting the up-close shot of just, everybody's reaction. It's fantastic. There's really nothing more I could really state than that. It is such a good scene, and this can be said about every single sequence of the Attack on Titan's anime so far, and like I said, just the amount of love, the passion that the animators, everyone that works on this puts into this is just, you can't help but just applaud them. You cannot help but applaud the staff that actually puts the effort and time into this, regardless of, what they go through behind the scenes. It's clear that they love their job. They love working as animators and love doing stuff like this. Their passion just rings through, and anyone that actually wants to deny that, I feel like is just extremely disrespectful. But let's talk about the core content, okay? Enough with gushing about just the beauty of the series. Let's actually talk about what happened within the episode. So, first things first, that needs to be talked about is Aaron's head. So, like I said, I know what's gonna happen, but seeing Aaron's head legitimately just fling off in, no censorship whatsoever from what I could see, and it just flings off into Zeke's hand was one of the most grotesque moments I think we have ever seen from Attack on Titan. Like, just the head itself just spinning. Like, the movement of it spinning around Aaron's shoulders and then just landing. I'm just like, oh my goodness, they actually animated that. And I was just in shock. I expected a censor bar, it to be hidden in some way, but no, that did not happen. And so I'm kind of curious now on certain scenes going forward in the future on how they're going to be animated if they're not going to actually censor stuff, because my goodness, what What a scene. What a scene. So let's talk about the symbolism of that, actually. So I think everybody probably caught this, but just in case, FYI if you didn't, because, there's always that chance. There was a scene where we see a flashback with Zeke and Eren, and you have this entire meeting where they're kind of talking about their plans of what they want to do with the Eldians, and kind of like make it to where they can no longer have children. And Zeke throws a baseball at Eren, basically trying to imply, since I can't shake your hand, we will use this as an agreement. We will use this as a way of saying we will go along with each other's plan. But in that moment, you see Eren not grab the ball, and it falls to the ground. And the way you can interpret this at that given moment was basically just Eren's head was a baseball flying into Zeke's hand, and Zeke wouldn't be the one to drop the ball. That's what you would assume from that brief scene. But as the episode progresses, it kind of unveils a little bit more about the overall message and why Zeke did what he did with that plot twist at the end. And that is the fact that he didn't trust Eren completely, because he knew that there was something that Eren was hiding behind the scenes, and that's why he chained his own self up thanks to Ymir's powers. To explain what I mean is that when he looked at Eren dropping the ball, he realized that for Eren to do that must mean that he didn't fully agree with his plan. He sensed it, he felt it, he just didn't really know how to react to it, which is why he built that countermeasure to wait for Eren's true intentions. So that is a really big detail that needs to be pointed out, is that in that moment, Eren messed up. Because of his own anger, or not really wanting to agree with Zeke's messed up plan, according to him, he dropped the ball. And so he was waiting for that ball to drop in the past dimension, to be able to see what was really going on. So I like that. It's a really nice little usage of symbolism, and easily one of my favorite moments of the episode, if we're not talking about the, really great content. There's a lot of great content, but that's a scene that really just stands out to me. But obviously there's a lot more going on. One big thing that needs to be mentioned is that Zeke really does care about Eren. That is something that is definitely clear. I don't think anyone can deny that emotion after watching this episode. Basically implying that, he will love Eren unconditionally. No matter what happens, no matter what Eren does, betrays him, etc., he will love Eren unconditionally. And it's a very beautiful moment to really just establish Zeke as a character. Really just showing that despite everything, despite, Eren potentially trying to betray him in that moment, he really does love Eren and wants to make sure that he has a happy and fulfilled in good life once everything is over. There's a lot of truth in his words, and I really do love Zeke as a character, and it's just like, it adds so much more to him, because ever since he was introduced, we knew he was a fascinating character, but it just seemed like he was the Beast Titan that obliterated our characters, and that's about it. He had a lot of good moments, yes, and he was basically the main rival to Levi throughout the entire story, but that was mostly it until this last season of the anime that really opened up Zeke as a character and showing what he's truly capable of and what he wants to do. I love his character. He is just such a fantastic character. And I mean, if we're speaking about characters, can we just take a few moments to talk about Gabby? And this is a character that has just so much controversy, so much discussion, and it's something that needs to be dived into. When the final seasons began, I remember so many people didn't like Gabby as a character, and the reason for it is obvious. She was someone that was basically pre-established character development Eren, but also someone that got rid of Sasha, a very iconic character that people love. And so when Gabby did the deed of getting rid of Sasha, people's anger flared up, for, like I said, good reason. But I feel like people didn't understand the true message here, is that Gabby was Eren, but on a different side. If we would have followed Gabby's story instead of Eren's story, we probably would have agreed with what Gabby did to Sasha, and that was kind of showing the cycle of hatred that the series has been doing for all of these episodes, and kind of what Zeke and Eren want to end. Just the constant cycle, the back and forth. Both sides are going for their own mini versions of hell, and they don't want to deal with it no more. And so Gabby being so important in this episode, I think probably took everybody aback, because it's like, when she took that shot and Eren's head just started to spin and fly off, I think everybody probably just is like in shock, because this character that, you know, technically doesn't have a Titan power, but has been on the perspective of, like, Aaron's perspective on the different side. I think nobody expected the events like that to unfold, but it did. But despite her efforts, obviously it didn't stop Aaron in the end. He did get to go to the dimension, but it's still, the point is Gabby as a character has really just grown a lot. And I feel like people really will love her character, especially after a lot of these moments, just to see, you know, how she is developed in such a unique way. Like, she might be similar to Eren, but there is some very outstanding differences in comparison to the two characters. So that just is something that needs to be mentioned. But if we're still on the same topic of characters, I do want to talk about Reiner. I can't help but always feel bad for Reiner, no matter when I see him in a story, especially after Season 3 of Attack on Titan, because Reiner is a character that's just, he's dealt with so much. He's dealt with so much PTSD, so much trauma. He wants to be done. He doesn't want to deal with it no more. And so in this episode, he's like, look, is it finally okay for me to undo my armor and be done with it? And just basically give over the armor titan to someone else. He was excited, basically, to finally be done, felt a sense of relief, but obviously he was denied it. And now, I know many are going to be quick to meme on Reiner, saying that, oh, he's the plot armor titan. I know that's an active meme in the community, but it does not change the fact that Reiner is such a good character, and I can't help but feel bad for him, because it's like, he wants to be done. He's dealt with it enough. He's seen too much, and he was not really meant to be a warrior. That is something that's been hammered into his head over and over again. He's been forced to a situation that he doesn't want to be in, and he's still there. He just wants to be done, and just, I feel bad for Reiner. I can't help but feel bad for him, but at the very least, you know, we have Falco, he's going to still be around, and he now has the Jaw Titan, so we can factor that in. But yeah, just overall, this series is just been excellent. Non-stop excellent, been really good with symbolism, to character development, to art and animation. It has just been a passion project by the staff at Studio Mappa. But as I've already said, I'm going to be looking at the anime as its own separate entity. I'm not going to use any bias or anything I know from the manga to just judge my overall opinion of the anime. I'm looking at them as two separate things, and I feel like that is the best way to do it going forward. Just separate my bias and look at the anime for what it is, the content and the enjoyment, etc. That's what I want to do. So I know many probably tuned in on this video probably expecting me to go ham and ranting, etc. I'm not for it. I don't like doing that. That is not something I like to do. I am brutally honest with my opinions sometimes, but I want to go into this anime and separate the stuff I know and look at the anime for what it is and how good it actually is. It's been a really good anime so far, and that's what I really just want to dive into. But anyways, with that out of the way, if you all have enjoyed my content, then, you know, please subscribe. It does help out a lot, and if you had any form of entertainment from this video, please leave me a like as well. But with that, guys, be safe, stay healthy, talk to you all later, Chibi out.